Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and welcome back to Kids Time. If you want to do a live call, the number's 01895445546. Now, as I was saying, today's topic is about doing the right thing. And during the Prophet Isa alayhi salam's life, this happened. He had to make the decision to do the right thing a lot. Iblis used to come to him at various times where he was feeling difficulty. For example, when he was fasting for 40 days, and Iblis came to him and said, "Oh, I can make you rich, such and such." He did not accept any of the gift Iblis said that he could give Isa alayhi salam. So you should do the same thing. So if you were to be thinking of serious things, you shouldn't do it. Inshallah, Allah Azza wa Jal will be happy with your decision and will bless you with many more stuff than what you wanted, etc., etc. Now I will go back to our guest, Uncle Suhail, as he wanted to share something with us.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Panda Man, thank you so much for your introduction. I'm Uncle Suhail and I'm going to be reading you a story. So, are you sitting comfortably? I hope you are. So this story is an Eid story. We just had an Eid, so it should be quite fresh in your minds. The story is called The Lost Rings. So, it's an Eid story called The Lost Rings. Rahma's grandmother and cousin, Muslima, were visiting for Eid. Grandma had sewn Eid dresses for both of the girls. "Try them on and see if they fit," said Grandma. Rahma and Muslima put on their long, pretty dresses and began twirling in the living room. "We look like princesses, don't we, Grandma?" laughed Rahma. Grandma looked up from the kneading and dough and smiled. "MashaAllah, both of you look wonderful, but change your clothes so you don't spoil them," she advised. After changing, Muslima sat down at the kitchen table and watched her grandmother knead and dough with one hand. "I have to use two hands now," said Grandma. Muslima watched Grandma slip off her gold ring. She knew it was a special ring from Grandpa. Just then, Rahma's mum and dad walked through the door. They had been busy with Eid shopping. "Assalamu alaikum, Mum, Dad," called Rahma. "Assalamu alaikum, Uncle Khalid and Auntie Farnaz," greeted Muslima. "Wa alaikum assalam, girls," replied Rahma's parents. "Did you have fun, Mummy?" asked Rahma. "No, darling, I didn't. I'm so tired," answered Mum as she leant down to hug Rahma. "I had fun though," laughed Dad. "Going shopping is a treat for me." Rahma's dad was so busy working at the hospital, he really had time to go shopping. When Mum went into the kitchen, she saw Grandma preparing the dough for Eid samosas. "Do you like samosas?" "I love samosas." "Oh, Mother," she exclaimed, "you should let me do the cooking. I don't want you to get tired." "I thought I would knead the dough for the samosas," said Grandma. "But now that you're back, I can give the children the gift that I bought for them. It's called the Multi-Madrasa." "Oh, they'll like that," answered Mum. "Our neighbor Hashim has that program. It's very exciting." Just then, Muslima walked into the kitchen and asked, "Auntie Farnaz, when are you going to make the samosas? Rahma and I would like to help you make them." "In about an hour, darling," replied Mum, and she struggled upstairs clutching several bags. The children played with Grandma, while Dad hung Eid lights outside and around the doorway. Soon it was time for Salat Zuhr. Rahma's brother Taha and Hamza laid out a sheet on the floor for everyone to pray on. Then Hamza called the Azan and Dad led the prayer. When everyone had finished the prayer, Grandma made some tea for the adults and hot chocolate for the children. Meanwhile, Mum began to prepare the mixture for the samosas. She had neatly arranged plates of mashed potatoes, chopped green chilies, diced onions, spices and salt. Wondered Mum, "something's missing." She glanced at the ingredients again and then realized, the peas. "Muslima and Rahma, darling," called Mum, "are you ready to help me mix these ingredients? I'm just going to get the peas from the fridge." Rahma had been looking forward to doing the samosas all week. She loved to eat the hot and spicy Indian pastries, Both of the girls rushed to the bathroom to wash their hands. Rahma got back to the kitchen counter first and stood on top of the footstool. She saw her grandmother's ring next to the bowl of dough. "Ooh, Grandma's ring," she exclaimed. She put on the ring, but it was too large for her fingers, so she put it on her thumb. Muslimah came and stood next to Rahma. Both of them gently prodded the dough. It looked like a fluffy cloud. Mum was back in the kitchen again. She emptied the peas into the big bowl. Then she added the rest of the ingredients to the mashed potatoes. "Girls, did you wash your hands?" she asked. Rahma and Muslimah nodded. "Okay, who's first?" asked Mum. "Rahma can be first because she's the youngest," offered Muslimah. "Thank you, Muslimah," smiled Rahma. Rahma put both of her hands into the bowl and began to squeeze the mixture together. "Ooh, this feels good, Muslimah," she laughed. Soon it was Muslimah's turn. Rahma washed her hands and then helped her mum roll the dough into the small circles. While the girls worked, Mum told them about her shopping trip. When it was time to spoon the mixture onto the rolled spices of dough, Grandma came to the kitchen and helped. Rahma placed the last samosa in the storage container. "Well done, girls," said Mum. "I'll put them in the freezer for now, and inshallah we will fry them on Eid day." "We need to clean up and tidy to welcome the blessed days of Eid," said Grandma. So the family spent the rest of the afternoon vacuuming, mopping, dusting and washing. Everyone was tired by the end of the day. Finally, Dad sat down with the children and reminded them about Eid al-Adha. "Can you tell me the name of Eid we have after Ramadan?" he asked. "It's Eid al-Fitr," exclaimed Muslimah. "MashaAllah," said Dad. "Does anyone know the name of Eid we're going to have?" "Ooh, Dad, my teacher, Sister Nadia, told us last week it's called Eid al-Adha, the festival of sacrifice." "Well done, Rahma," complimented Dad. "Some people call it the Big Eid too." Dad told the family about the story of the Prophet Ibrahim and his family and how willing he was to always obey Allah. "He had a great love for Allah," explained Dad, "and he had a great love for all people. We should try to be like the Prophet Ibrahim, peace be upon him." The children listened with excitement as Dad told them about how Allah had tested the Prophet Ibrahim's obedience and how the Prophet Ibrahim was willing to sacrifice even his beloved son Ismail. But just when the moment came, Allah sent a ram to be sacrificed in place of Ismail. And that's why Muslims all over the world sacrifice goats, sheep, camels or cows on the day of Eid al-Adha, explained Dad, to show that they will also be as obedient to Allah as the prophets Ibrahim and Ismail were. "The poor people are very happy on that day too, aren't they, Dad?" said Rahma. "Yes, mashallah, they are. On that day, all the poor and the needy people receive meat and gifts, and there's so much love and kindness," answered Dad. "That's how Allah wants everyone to be with each other, to treat each other," said Grandma. "He wants us to be kind and loving, to share with everyone. Inshallah, tomorrow we will fast for the day of Arafat, and we can visit the sick children in the hospital and take some sweets for them," said Dad. On the day of Arafat, the children were busy. They visited the hospital and took gifts to the people in the community and to the neighbors. Soon it was time to break the fast. "Who would like to make a dua?" asked Dad. "Uncle Khalid, I learnt a good dua. Can I say it, please?" asked Muslimah. "Of course you can, Muslimah," smiled her uncle. "May the blessing of Allah reach everyone. May Allah give us peace, and may Allah give everyone a very joyful and blessed Eid. Ameen," said Muslimah. "Ameen," said everyone. "That's a beautiful dua, Muslimah," smiled Grandma. After Salatul Maghrib, everyone finished their meal and then helped with the washing and cleaning. Then they sat in the living room around Dad. Dad went over the sunnah of the blessed Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, for Salatul Eid. "For Eid al-Adha, the sunnah is to eat after the prayer," explained Dad. "Inshallah, there'll be some tasty treats at Eid, mashallah. There will everyone meets to pray." The children reminded each other of what Muslims do for Eid. Always have a bath, ghusl, make wudu, and put on your best clothes, said Rahma. "Give money, clothes and food to the poor," said Taha. "And give a third of the meat to the poor and the third to friends and relatives," said Hamza. "Wake up early," said Muslima, "and pray to God is most great. God is most great. There is no one else worthy of worship except God, and God is most great. God is most great, and all praise is for God." "MashaAllah," said Mum, "you're all so good. Well done for remembering all those things." That night, the children found it very difficult to sleep. They were so excited. Finally, it was the Eid day. And Alhamdulillah, said Rahma. Subhanallah, said Muslima. Everyone rushed around trying to get ready. All the way to Eid Musalla, everyone chanted Takbir Tashriq. After Salatul Eid, Dad went with his friends to a farm to choose a sheep for Qurbani, which is a sacrifice. Finally, in the evening, after all the meat had been distributed and the Eid dinner cooked, the guests began to arrive. Every knock at the door was followed with a loud greeting, Eid Mubarak. A little later in the evening, Grandma suddenly realized that she didn't have her ring. "Oh, Innallah, maybe I dropped it at the Eid prayer," she cried. Everyone froze. They knew how much Grandma loved her ring. "No, Grandma," said Muslima. "The last I remember, you left the ring on the kitchen counter when we were making the samosas. Don't worry, inshallah we'll find it." Grandma looked worried, but said, "Inshallah, I hope it's here in the house somewhere." Muslima gathered all the children together. "Leave it to me," said Hashim, who lived next door. I'm a really good detective. The first thing we need is to question everybody." Suddenly, Rahma let out a gasp. "Ya Allah," she exclaimed. Her eyes were wide open and her hands covered her face. "Oh no," cried Rahma, as she remembered wearing Grandma's ring. "The ring is in one of the samosas," she stammered. The children looked at Rahma in disbelief. "What do you mean, in the samosas?" asked Hashim. "How could the ring be in the samosas?" "Subhanallah, it is," insisted Rahma. "I was wearing Grandma's ring when I was helping to make the samosas." "There's only one thing to do. We're going to have to open up all the samosas before eating them," said Hamza. "It's the only way." The children looked at the huge platter of samosas on the dining room table. Each child looked at a samosa to eat. One after the other, the children opened each samosa to check if the ring before eating it. Mum came into the dining room for some napkins and looked at the children curiously. "You like my samosas, huh?" she said, looking puzzled and raising her eyebrows. All of the children were holding a samosa in their hand. They all smiled and nodded. Mum smiled back and nodded approvingly. "Alhamdulillah," she said, "but try some of the other food too." The children continued their task. Finally, there was only one samosa left. Everyone was holding their stomach. "I can't eat another bite," said Hamza. Muslima took the last samosa and broke into it 4 pieces. "It's got to be in there," she said. She gave Taha, Rahma and Hashim a piece each. "It's not there." Each one cried in disbelief. Rahma turned her face red. She looked like she was going to cry. "That was Grandma's favorite ring, and now it's lost forever," she wailed. Rahma felt miserable. "I'll have to tell Mum and Grandma and ruin Eid for everyone," sniffed Rahma. "Try not to worry. Inshallah, we will find Grandma's ring," reassured Hamza. "Come on," encouraged Muslima. "Let's all recite Ayatul Kursi and ask Allah for help." After making dua, the children walked into the living room. The mothers were sitting in one area, chatting about Good Faith School's fundraiser.
So Uncle Sahel, let me get one thing clear.
Yes?
So basically, the girl accidentally put the ring inside of the dough for the samosas, and then they ate all the samosas and they still haven't found it.
That seems to be the case right now. She thought she put the ring on her finger when she was making the samosas, so she thought it must be in the filling of the samosas, so they had to eat all the samosas. But now they've eaten them all and there's still no ring.
Okay.
That's the story so far. Shall I carry on?
Yes, please.
The fathers were by the fireplace, talking about the problems of the world. Just then, Mum let out a yell. "Ouch!" Everyone looked at Mum, who was holding her jaw and a half-eaten samosa. "Subhanallah, I just bit into something really hard," she cried. The children's faces lit up instantly. Mum was pulling something small out of her samosa. "Subhanallah, "Mother, it's your ring," she said in disbelief. Grandma was so pleased that the ring had been found. Rahma went to grandmother and hugged her. "Sorry, Grandma," whispered Rahma. "I think I accidentally dropped your ring in the mixture. Please don't be cross with me." "There's no harm done," smiled Grandma, and she gave Rahma a big hug. Rahma looked up at Muslima and chuckled. "I guess we'll always remember this as the Samosa Eid." Well, what did you think of that story? Quite an interesting one, eh? I don't know if there's a moral to the story. What do you think, Panda Man?
Super Panda Man thinks that you should always ask somebody before you take their things. That's what Super Panda Man thinks the moral is. Do you think that's close?
I think that's a very good idea. Before you take anybody's ring or anything that belongs to them and try it on for yourself, make sure you ask for their permission in case you lose it or it falls into some samosa dough.
Okay, this story's moral, which Super Panda Man has just come up with. Yeah, Super Panda Man came up with this. Okay, yeah. Anyway, this story's moral links to today's topic, and that is doing the right thing. So Rahma there, I think it was Brother Sahel.
Yes, Rahma was there.
Yeah, Rahma, she took her grandma's ring without even asking. Now the right thing to do there was to actually go to her grandma, ask if she could wear it first, then start kneading the dough. And also keep in mind that while she's kneading the dough, she has her grandma's ring on. So keeping an eye on that ring too. Whereas she just saw it, she thought it looked pretty, she put it on her finger and then started kneading the dough. So remember, always ask an adult if it's their property, if you can use their property before just taking it. Now you are watching Kids Time. For a live call, the number is 01895 445546. And now inshallah we will go on to a break. Keep tuned for Kids Time. And you're watching Kids Time. If you want to do a live call, the number is 01895 445546. Now I'm gonna ask Uncle Sahel what is his view on doing the right thing.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back everybody. First of all, I hope you enjoyed that story. Do call in on the number that Super Panda Man has given you and tell me what you thought of the story, and if you'd like me to read another one, maybe tomorrow or the day after. So, what was your question, Super Panda Man? Doing the right thing?
Yeah.
Must always do the right thing. Remember, Allah is watching us at all times, so the fear of Allah should be in our hearts, and because it's in our hearts, we must always do the right thing.
Thank you, Uncle Sahel. Now, if you are doing a bad thing and Allah has created a cover for you, and you still carry on doing that bad thing, it's mocking Allah Azza wa Jal. You're mocking your Creator. Think how bad that is. Now, if I remember correctly, it was hadith that the Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam was asked, what are the cure for sins? And he replied 5 things. I'm not going to mention all of those 5 things, it's a bit too long, but I'm only going to mention a few of those things which he said. He said, stop eating the food created by your Creator. Stop eating the food created by Allah. If you do a sin, stop eating that food. The man asked, but all of the food on this earth is created by Allah Azza wa Jal. What am I meant to do then? Ibrahim said, think about it. You're eating the food while doing sins to your Creator, the Creator who is giving you the opportunity to live. The next one was to get out of the land. If you're doing sins, get out of the land created by Allah Azza wa Jal. Get out all of the land which is belonging to Allah Azza wa Jal. The man said, how am I meant to get out of this land? All of the land is created by Allah Azza wa Jal. Every single place on earth is made by Allah Azza wa Jal. Anyway, if you do those sins, you're basically just mocking Allah Azza wa Jal, your creator. You heard those first two things which the hadith said. It says that get out of that land which your creator has made, and stop eating the food which your creator has made. Think, if you're doing those bad deeds, your creator, he told you not to, and you're still eating the same things which your creator has made. You're staying in the same place which your creator has made. Now I will go to Uncle Sahel, who I will ask, does he want to say a message to any of the viewers who are watching right now? Uncle Sahel?
Thank you, Super Panda Man. Yes, I have some messages for everybody watching. Now, my message for today, I think Super Panda Man did mention it yesterday as well, but because it's so important, I'm going to mention it again. You must be very, very good to your parents, especially your mummy. Now, your mummy holds a very special place in Islam, in the eyes of God. So we have to respect her and treat her with a lot of love and affection, and always listen to her. Did you know that she carried you for 9 months before you were born? She went through a lot of pain and a lot of suffering that you don't know about. And if you think about all the things that she does for you, you know, she helps you with your homework, she makes your food for you, she buys you things, she does a lot for you. So we must always respect and obey our parents. So just reminding you of Super Panda Man's message of yesterday, to be good to your parents, respect your parents, listen to your parents, and don't argue with your parents. Okay? Not even, ooh.
Thank you, Uncle Sahel. And I think I forgot to mention this yesterday. In fact, the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said that Jannah is under your mother's feet. Under your mother's feet is literally Jannah. So it's a good thing to kiss her hands, and if you can, kiss her feet. Now, if you want to join me, as in Uncle Sahel did, just ring the live call number and talk to the staff in the studio. Inshallah, they will take down your details and you will be able to come on live television with Super Panda Man on Kids Time. So, if you want to be with Super Panda Man on live television, ring that number now and talk to the studio staff. Now, as I said, doing the right thing is very important, and many scenarios where the person has done the right thing, Allah Azza wa Jal blesses him with more. There's also this story about this man. He was a very pious Muslim, and he was very rich. Allah bestowed many bounties on top of him. He had literally everything which anybody would want, and this is all because he used to worship Allah Azza wa Jal in the correct manner. One day Allah Azza wa Jal decided to test that man. He took away all of his possessions, all of his bounties, everything. And he tested him by taking all of that away. He created a disease on him. And everybody who knew him just ran away from him. They thought that he was doing the wrong thing, and the gods had in fact idols, because at that time they only used to worship Allah Azza wa Jal because of that man. They thought that they have to run away. So Allah Azza wa Jal is basically testing everybody who the man knew and the man. So they all ran away from him. And he was very poor at this time. But it was for around 3 years he was like this. But he did not lose his trust one bit from Allah Azza wa Jal. He carried on worshipping Allah Azza wa Jal. He did not get the temptation towards Iblis to worship the sun, worship idols, worship the moon. He kept his belief in Allah Azza wa Jal strong. And after those 3 years had passed, Allah Azza wa Jal bestowed 10 times the more bounties than he had before. on that man, and mashallah, he got 10 times everything which he had before. So I'd just like to ask Uncle Sahel, what is your opinion on this story? I'll make it short for you.
Yes.
There was this man, and he was bestowed many things by Allah Azza wa Jal.
Yes.
Many people used to like him, and one day Allah Azza wa Jal decided to test him. He took away all of his bounties, everything, and he in fact gave him a lease for 3 years. But that man didn't lose his trust one bit in Allah Azza wa Jal. And after the 3 years has passed and Allah Azza wa Jal was satisfied, he in fact gave 10 times the bounties which he had given before to him.
Subhanallah. This is the power of Allah, and also it is the test of faith. So this man who had everything that he could have ever asked for and then suddenly loses it, and yet what he didn't lose was his faith and his trust in Allah. So even though he was put through these harsh tests of getting the disease and losing everything that he had, he kept the faith. And faith, the iman, is the most important thing, to keep your faith strong and to hold on to your faith. So he kept his faith in Allah, and because he did, Allah rewarded him. And this is what we must all do, is to keep the faith no matter what hardships we're going through. And there will be hardships. We have ups and we have downs. Sometimes we have to struggle, but this is all a test from Allah. So in order to pass the test, we must keep the faith.
Now you are watching Kids Time. If you want to do a live call, the number's 01895 445546. And now inshallah we will go to a short break. Sorry about that. Now, as I was saying, I hope that you learned a couple of good things from the stories that Uncle Sahel said to you. And unfortunately, Kids Time will come to an end in around 5 minutes or so. So I am going to once again repeat to you my Facebook page, okay? If you like this panda, you go on that Facebook page and you press like. And you can also go onto that Facebook page and type in anything you want me to do next, any topics you want me to talk about. Just type in Super Panda Man, caps, all caps. All of the letters are capital letters, okay? With a space between Super, Panda and Man, okay, on Facebook. And inshallah you will find me, Super Panda Man. Yeah, and inshallah we will be adding more and more to that Facebook page. Now, I hope you have learned some really good things from my chat there, from the stories that me and Uncle Sahel read. So, Super Panda Man needs to go do some more work. So, inshallah, I will be going now, and I will meet you tomorrow at the same time. Allah Hafiz.